All right, welcome in, guys. My name is Treblesome 1234, or Treble for short. You're joining me now for our second session of the day, where we go to it's a bit of a beginners plus guitar lesson. We're going to be focusing today on strumming patterns and talking about the musical elements and how to use the musical elements to enhance our playing and provide different sounds as we are playing songs. Now, we started today's session off learning some basic chords. The chords that we learnt today in our first session were E minor, C, D, and G, and we learnt. We did a couple songs. We did "Zombies" by Cranberries, and we did "Royals" by Lord as well. So that was the first two. We got a few more songs on that list to work on. And if you are just joining us and you didn't get a chance to catch that first session, this is a follow-on from that first session. So I recommend going back to past broadcasts, check it out, and go from there. Let me just quickly get a few things sorted here, and then we should be underway to learn about the strumming patterns and all that sort of good stuff. So, yeah. So if you join us for the first time, I'm Treble. I've been teaching for a long time. I've been teaching most of my adult career in schools, privately. My background is also, I did Army Reserves for about 8 years in the Australian Army Band. I now reside in Alberta, Canada, and with my beautiful other half, who's Canadian. And I was fortunate enough to meet her actually in London, UK, where I did a spot of teaching over there as well. So teaching's been my career for the most part. If you have any questions, queries, or any doubtful points at any point in today's session, please do not hesitate to ask. And if you are there listening, I'd love to hear in the chat about how long you've been playing for, a little bit about your background as well would be really great to hear. Now, it is on followers mode only today, so you must be a follower in order to be able to chat in the chat, and that's just to prevent random people coming in and just being a little bit silly, right? So, so welcome in. Now, let's go to our blackboard here and talk about what we're going to be doing. So we're going to be going through these different strumming patterns here, and all the resources you're seeing today, by the way, are available on my Discord, which you can see right now in the chat. It's been spammed in the chat just there, and you can click on that Discord link, go down to music education section, and there's a section there called resources. At the end of this session today, the three sections, I'm actually going to also give away some private lessons or private concerts if you've got some people around for that. So this is one of the things we're going to be working through here with some bunch of different strumming patterns. I'll break that down in just a moment. But the other thing that we looked at from our first session here was just these chords here, E minor, C, D, and G. This was from our first session. We'll be using the same chords today in the second session and we'll also be voting on songs that we're going to do and also just to work on our strumming patterns. So if you're here now, it means that you know how to play these four chords. These four chords are pretty comfortable for you, or at least getting comfortable. You're slowly getting there, and we're going to be focusing on those strumming patterns. So I wonder if I can get both this and the other one up next to each other. Let's see if I can get that happening so we have both. Well, if Windows 10 decides stop to do the maximize thing, we might be right. If anyone knows how to turn that off, let me know. I want to turn that off. Here's our two different things. I'll make that a little bit bigger just there. So let's talk through what we're going to do as far as our strumming patterns go. We're going to be doing musical elements as well. They'll come a little bit later on. But let's first talk about this sheet just here and what we've got there to break down what's on this sheet just here. So first of all, up the top left here is a little bit of a reminder from some things that you may have forgotten. If you see one of these things here, it's called a minim or it's called a half note. It goes for 2 beats, 2 counts. This one here is called a crotchet or it's a quarter note. It goes for 1 count. Here we've got an 1/8 note or a quaver. It's a half a beat there for that one. And if you put 2 of them together, they often put stems over the top of them like so, which equals to 2 like that, which equals a full count. There's a couple of rests you're going to encounter in this piece as well. This one here equals a 1 beat rest. If you see this one here, it's a half a beat rest. So let's talk about how this works. Let's look at this first one just over here to the right. You can see here, all these pieces are in 4/4. What that means is that's a time signature, 4 beats in a bar, and the top number tells us how many beats in a bar. The bottom number tells us the note value. So in this case here, we've got four quarter notes in a bar. So looking here, the count we're going to be using is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, pardon me for a sec. And down the bottom here, you've got some arrows. The arrows are your direction of strumming. So in this case here, you can see that every single time it's on an and, it's an up strum. Every single time it's on a number, it's a down strum. Above that is the actual notes that we are doing, the rhythm that we're doing just there. So in this case here, we have our quavers or our eighth notes, and that counts as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, with each of them going for half a beat. So as we go through here, you're going to notice that there's a little blue comes into it as well. Blue is still putting that count in there, the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, but the blue means that there's no notes on it just there. So we don't actually play anything on those counts unless it's being carried over from the previous note. So in this case here, this first one here, which is nice, easy, just four strums down, you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you can count that, do something called subdividing, where you go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then just play those down strums. But in this case here, you can just not say the blue parts and just say 1, 2, 3, 4. So going down, it gets increasingly harder. There's some harder ones as we go down, and I'm going to talk about how you can make your own on this. These are just ones that I put together. So we're going to combine that, like I said, with the music that's here on the left. So I'm just going to work through some of these songs that you can see there. Let's start with, let's start with the ones that we did today. We did Cranberries, we did the Zombie by Cranberries and Royals by Lord. Let's start with just the Zombie Cranberries there. And what we're going to do, we're going to just have a look at the first one you can see over here at the top, where it says 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's a down up strum. So for this first song, we got E minor, C, G, and D. In fact, I'm going to put those chords at the top of the screen. So that way it's a lot more visible as I go to show you up close on the guitar what I'm doing. E minor, C, G, and D. All right. So you should see that in just a moment. Once I click the button at the top of the screen just there, and I'll move it in a little bit more so it's a little bit more visible to see. E minor, C, G, and D. They're the 4 chords that we're looking at right now for Zombie with Cranberries. So I'm going to quickly just go to a different screen here and show you up close what I'm doing on the guitar. So for this one here, we're going to use open chords. Now it doesn't matter if you're using whatever chords you're using. You might be using bar chords, or you might be using open chords, power chords. The strumming patterns are going to be fairly similar. So what we're going to be doing, I'm using a guitar pick today as well. When I'm strumming the guitar pick, if you've got a thinner pick, that's fine as well. Thinner picks are often quite used for strumming. Harder picks are used for like faster stuff. I tend to use a medium to hard, and I set it in my hand nice and strong, like we talked about in that first section just there. Now when you're running it across the guitar, and let me just move this a little bit more this way, because this is the part we mainly focus on is our right hand. Now, there's a couple of things happening here that I want to talk about. When I'm running the pick over the guitar, it's a mixture of my arm has 3 sort of segments to it. I like to think you got your hand here, which goes up to your wrist, which you can move around a bit. You've got your forearm, and then you've got your upper arm here as well. The more arm you put in, the more strength you're going to have into the chord. For the faster sort of stuff, you do more around the wrist. If you're doing sort of like slower strums, I tend to use wrist and forearm to really shape how to strum just there. So on the first one here, we're doing that down, and we're going to go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. To be able to run the pick over the string successfully, I'm going to exaggerate it for now, but I'm going down on an angle, I'm coming back up on an angle. If you go against the grain, it's kind of hard to do. I can't really have it this way and go down. It's not going to work. So as I'm strumming, you can see my wrist and my forearm moving, so that way allows for that pick to kind of run over the strings. Now, the more on an angle you have, the more arpeggiated the chord kind of sounds. Where if you go straighter and go a bit more strength into the strum, you can get the whole chord there. So for this first one, we're going down, up pretty much. So we're going to go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. A couple of things to take note of. When you go into E minor to your C, look what I'm doing here with my third finger. A little bit of a little cheeky advanced technique. I'm allowing it to come across and touch the bottom E string, so it mutes it. So that way, if I accidentally hit it, you're not really going to hear that mute as much. You're not going to hear that the E come through there. Even though the E is in the chord of C, we don't want to hear that lower E because we're concentrating on our third finger, which is our lower C bass note. So we've got 5 strings for this one, for the C. Now when you go to the G, it's 4 strings, but when you go to the D, it's only 4 strings, as we talked about in that first session. So with a D chord, getting your strumming down so you can hit all 4 without hitting the E and A can be a little bit challenging at first. And that will come with time. What I tend to do with this one here is I tighten my hand up a little bit on the arm. So if you look at the other ones, I'm exaggerating for the purpose of it. Notice how on the D chord, I tightened my strumming pattern. I didn't go too crazy with all of it. I brought it in nice and tight and just stayed there with that one there. So let's have a go now with the down ups, and then we're going to try a different strumming pattern with this one as well. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, E minor, and 3 and 4 and C, 2 and 3 and 4 and G, up, down, D, down, up, back to E minor, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, D, and stop there. All right, let's go back to, not that board there, we don't want that one. That one there, that's the one we want. So, I've just managed to, give me a second, I just clicked something wrong there. Fixing an upper mind, all good, I think we're good now. So, we've got a bunch of different strumming patterns here. We just talked about, because we've got the chords above our head, I'm just going to zoom this one right in so we can see particular ones. We just did that first one there, which is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Using those quavers or eighth notes, depending on which part of the world you're from and what your terminology is. We followed that down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up pattern. Down here next, we're going to do it, this is pretty simple, this one here. It's just straight down, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to do it real quickly right now. Start on E minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to go down, 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 down to C, down, down, down to G, 2, 3, 4 to D, 2, 3, 4, E minor, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and D. Finish on E minor. So this one here with the blue tells us that there's no notes that we're kind of playing right in that moment. We kind of we're not really playing that there. It's called subdividing, where you kind of get there and break down the rhythm so that way it's easier to kind of get a grip on. It's not too hard for 1, 2, 3, 4, but I guess you're definitely going to need it for the later sessions. So this one just here. Now we're going to get a little bit trickier. And I'm going to go through all these different patterns here. We're going to change. We do this one here. We're going to change songs after this one just here. So for this one here, we've got a rest. You can see here. This is a 1 beat rest. Then we have back to our 2 quavers or eighth notes. Another rest and 2 quavers. So the count for this one would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we're only playing where you can see the black numbers. So it'll be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and on the 2 and 4 and we're going down up on the guitar. It sounds like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and what I want you to do is a palm mute actually. If you haven't done a palm mute before, let me quickly show you. So as I'm doing it, so we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and sort of thing. So as I'm doing the strum, I'm bringing my hand and I can stop it whichever way. Sometimes you might want to get a percussive sort of sound there. You might want to get a bit of a percussion sound by hitting the strings against the top of the fretboard here, which will give you a bit of percussive sound. But the main thing for this one here is making sure you get your count going. And if you're ever practicing these things, I recommend practicing with a metronome. Just a reminder, any questions, queries, or doubtful points at any point, please don't hesitate to ask in the chat. So this one here, we're going to give it a go. E minus for 4 counts, C for 4 counts, G for 4 counts, D for 4 counts, as you can see right at the top of the screen. So we're going to do each chord for 1 sequence of this, and then we change to the next one. Let's start on E minor. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and down up 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 2 and 4 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and back to E minor. All right, so that there is our how we do that strumming pattern just there. Now, when it comes to working out strumming patterns, the trick is learning that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and you can do any combination of those sort of things there. So if you wanted to only strum on 1 and 3, you can. You could do 1, 2, and 4. You could strum just on the ends. You could strum on all the different sort of parts there. But the main trick is to get your right hand moving. So if you keep your right hand moving, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And all I'm doing is I'm bringing my pick onto the guitar when I want to play those notes. But if you can get used to your hand just going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and getting that really used to just that feeling, get the muscle memory going. You can practice this at home, even if you're watching TV, just by muting the strings and just practicing that action just there. You're gonna and then faster later on. You're gonna work on getting a consistent sound and consistent rhythm with that. So let's go back to the screen. So that's our first two. We're going to change songs now. I'm going to quickly draw up the next song, and we're going to try the next couple on a new song. So the next song, let's have a look here. What do you guys want to do? You let me know in the chat. I won't do a vote this time. I'll just see if anyone's active in the chat. But we've got Zombie by the Cranberries, Beat It, Michael Jackson, Royals, Lord, Fast Car, Tracy Chapman, Sweet Home Alabama, or Riptide. Any particular ones from this one here that you'd like to do? Let me know in the chat. Otherwise, I'm thinking what we're going to do. I'm going to put on Fast Car by Tracy Chapman because it's going to present new issues because it changes chords halfway through the bar, and I think that's going to present different issues. So I think that'd be a good one to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly just draw that up for you right now. All right, so you should see that now at the top of your screen, C, G, E minor, D. That's our 4 chords that we're going to use for Fast Car by Tracy Chapman. Let's jump over to back to where we were before, just here. So we're now going to look at a couple of these other rhythms with Fast Car. Let's look at this top one just up here, up the top left. For this one here, we're dealing with a minim or a half note there, which goes for 2 counts. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 3 and 4 and now this presents an interesting interesting challenge with the new chords C, G, E minor, and D because that count goes for 4 beats, but there's 2 chords that we need to do within that part. So for this song, it'll be C, 2, G, 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 E minor, 2, D, 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 C, 2, G, 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 E minor, 2, D, 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 D. Oh, it sounds like this. Have a listen. 1, 2, C, now 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and so we're doing the down up strokes on the second half of those 4 counts. I'm going to put a bit of a drum beat on, and we're going to practice this one right now. You can see the top left with the drum beat. So let's start on our C chord up the top there, C, G, E minor, D. I'm going to go between counting, and then I might even put some words in here. So remember, it's down for 2, then down, up, down, up. We've got to make sure you change chords when you get to that second part of the 4 beats. 1, 2, C. Here you go. Now, C, 2, 3, and 4, and E minor, 2. I'm going to slow it down. It's pretty quick. Let's try this tempo. Here we go again. So it's quite quick. So it'll be C, 2, 3 and 4 and E minor, 2, D and 4 and C, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2. Here we go. C, 2 and G and 4 and E minor, 2, D and 4 and C, 2, G, E minor, 2, down, up, down, 2, down, up, E minor, 2, down, up, C, 2, G, E minor, 2, D. Down, up, minor, down, up, down, up. Down, down, up, down, up. All right, so. So that's our strumming pattern. Once again, any questions at any point, don't hesitate to ask. So we're going to go through all these, then we're going to go back and talk about musical elements and how to use our musical elements within the pieces. So that's our one that we just did there. Let's look at our next one. For the next one, we have 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Down, up, down, down. If you wish, you can subdivide, which means putting those pluses or the ands in there as well. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then you just wouldn't play. You wouldn't strum those little pluses in blue. So this one's another strumming pattern. We use the same chords. It's kind of almost reverse of the other one, except this time we're using quarter notes instead of the minimum or the half note. Here we go. So the one at top right, all the way on the top right. I'll give you another count. Won't worry about the drums. No, we'll get the drums in. Let's make it a little bit R&B this time. So I'm going to play it through twice, and then I'll feel free to join. Actually, I'll count you guys in. Let's go. Top right, C, G, E minor, D. Do not forget to change on 3 and 4 to the second chord. Starting on C. 1, 2, 3, 4. C. I'm going to start again. I made a mistake, sorry. 2, 3, 4. C. G. C. E minor, sorry. D. C. G. E minor. D. 1 and 2 and change. 1 and 2 and change. Down. 1 and 2 and change. 1 and 2 and change. Down, up, down, down, down. Down, up, down, down. E minor. Sorry, C. Sorry, I keep getting the wrong. My bad. Sorry. I apologize. C. C. G. E minor. D. C. G. E minor. D. Down, up, down, down, down. Down, up, down, down, down. Got a fast car, and I've got a ticket to anywhere. Maybe we can make a deal. Maybe together we can get somewhere. Any place is better. Starting from zero, I got nothing to lose. We da 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 da. Me, myself, I got nothing to prove. All right, so that one there's a bit of fast car. Using that rhythm there, and that actually worked quite nicely for it. So down, 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 up, down, down. Down. I was getting so confused with the chords. I was trying to figure out what to say, whether to do the counts, the strumming. I kind of like to alternate between them because everyone learns differently. We all have different ways of learning. So that one there is 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So remember, you can make up any strumming patterns you like using this count of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and doing different variations on it with your down-up strumming will create a different sound. And alternatively, if you ever do 1-eander, 2-eander, 3-eander, 4-eander, the concept's exactly the same. That's with a bit of a faster strumming section. We have 4 more here to go. we'll do one more here, and then we're going to change songs for the last 3. So this next one here is, and these are just ones I drew up. Once again, you can make up your own however you like. So this one here we have 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Down, up, down, down, up, down, like so. So for this one here, we use the same chords. It'll be like this: C, G, E minor, D, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. So on my hand, this is what it looks like. Let's go a little bit closer. So we've got down, up, we've got down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. Or you can go down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. And notice how I'm keeping my hand moving up and down as I do that. So you can do that as well. You can either choose to stop and let the note hang a bit more on the second and fourth beat, or you can get there and just keep your hand going up and down as you go through. So let's give that another go with the drum beat. So it'll be, remember, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, it'll be C and C, G, 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 E minor, 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 D. Here we go. C, G, E minor, D, and C, G, E minor, D. Down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. Down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. C, G, E minor, D. C, G, E minor, D. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. 3 and 4. All right, so that's that one there. We're going to change songs now and do the last 3, and then we're going to talk about those musical elements. Any questions so far? Any questions at all so far? Let me know. Let me know. Seriously, any questions at any point? Any questions? Let me know. If you are watching on past broadcasts, or you're a little bit shy, or you're not following, to be able to chat in the chat there, and you might be watching. And not be actually a user on Twitch and just be kind of watching on Twitch, don't hesitate to contact me through my Facebook page at facebook.com/Treblesome1234. You can also book in private lessons there as well if you wish. I will be offering up a free private lesson at the end of this session with anyone who is here. And yeah, let's go back to the other screen. So 3 more to go here. Let's change up the song. Let's go to, what have we got here? This time for our next one, let's do Riptide Vance Joy. So Riptide Vance Joy. For Riptide Vance Joy, we have A minor for 4. We then go to G, C for 8. And it repeats. I forgot to put one of the last little strokes just there at the end. Like so. Right, A minor, G, C for 8 there. So that's at the top of our screen right there. You can see those chords. I'm going to minimize this now. All right, now what we're looking at, once again, all these resources are available at my Discord, which has just been spammed, I believe, in chat. I'll put it in one more time. If you look in chat right now, you can check out my Discord there. My Discord will have all this section, all this resources in my music education section in the resource tab. All right, we've got 3 more to go. Now these ones get a little bit trickier, and these are where we start. We go, especially these 2 here on the right hand side. The one on the left isn't as bad, but the one on the right hand side are a little bit trickier. So we're going to start with the bottom left, which is the one that just literally right there, where it says 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3. 4 and down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. This is what it sounds like with the chords that we have above our head. A minor, 2 and 3, 4 and G, 2 and 3, 4 and C, 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4 A minor, down, up, down, down, up G, down, up, down, down, up C, down, up, down, down, up. So let's look up nice and close to see what that looks like when I'm strumming it. So we have A minor, our first chord. We're going down, down, up, down, down, up. To get to our G, we move to our G, down, down, up, down, up, and C. We'll do that double up on it. All right, just like that. So let's give it a go with the drums again. And we're looking just at this one right here. Let's get a nice little funky groove going here. And we're going to play it through a couple of times here. So A minor, G, and C for A minor for 1 bar, G for 1 bar, C for 2. Remember the count is like this. It goes 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and here we go. Now A minor, 2 and 3, 4 and G, 2 and 3, 4 and C, 2 and 3, 4 and C, 2 and 3, 4 A minor, 2 and 3, 4 and G, 2 and 3, 4 and C, 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4 A minor, down, up, G, down, up, C, down, up, C, down, up, back to the start. A minor, down, up, G, down, up, C, down, up. We're going to go one more time. Here we go. Back to the start. A minor, down, up, G, down, up, C, 2 and 3, 4 and C, 2 and 3, 4 and. All right, so that's our rhythm just there. Are there any questions at this point? Reminder, you can check all this out on my past broadcasts. Pause, rewind. I recommend doing that if you are learning from these sessions. These things that you're learning here, by the way, in the first section, second section, are going to be no different to some things that you'll find in private lessons. So take use of it if you are learning. You're essentially getting yourself some free lessons here. And don't hesitate to send me a private message or contact me either through my Facebook page, my Discord, or even through Twitch's messaging service. So we've got 2 more to go here. This is where it gets a little bit trickier. We're now dealing with some rests. Remember at the top here, we talked about these rests just here, the half beat rests. We now have the half beat rest in this last section just here. So really important with this one here that we're going to talk about how to do a bit of a palm mute on this one. It's a little bit more challenging, a little bit more of a technique in there. But this one we have 1 and 1 and. Sorry, I'm going to do this one here first. Sorry, I was looking at the bottom one. Let's look at this one here. So in the middle on the right, we've got 1, 2 and 1, 2 and 1, 2 and 1 and 1, 2 and 1 and. Okay, it's on the one end. So these little offbeats are hard to do. Have a listen to what it sounds like. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1, 2 and 4 and so forth, so on. So let's break down what we're doing here because this one's a little bit more trickier. So I'm going to quickly just jump over to the other screen. There's a bit happening down here on my right hand. I'll play it again for you. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 1, 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So what I'm doing here is a bit of a muting technique. I'm going down to the A minor, 1, 2, and I'm letting it ring for the first one. 1, 2, and then I'm bringing my hand down, and I'm using the back of my thumb here to kind of mute the strings. And after that, I'm then going an upstroke. See how my pick's at the bottom of the guitar? I then use that to go a bit of an upstroke. So it'll be 1, 2, and mute, up, like that. So 1, 2, and mute, up, up, like so. So 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and G, 2 and 3 and 4 and C, 2 and 3 and 4 and C, 2 and 3 and 4 A minor, 2 and 3 and 4 and so forth, so on. So I'm going to put a drum beat and we're going to try that out together. If you are watching at home, pause, rewind any sort of past broadcast that you're watching to practice that. I'm going to see if I can find an appropriate beat for this. Yes, here we go. 1, 2, A minor now. 1, 2 and G, 2 and C, 2 and C, 2 and back to A minor. Down, up, G, down, up, C, down, up, C, down, up, A minor, down, up, G, down, up, C, down, up, C, down, back to the start. Here we go. A minor, down, up, G, down, up, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and C, 2 and 3 and 4 and start again. Here we go. A minor, 2 and 3 and 4 and G, 2 and 3 and 4 and C, 2 and 3 and 4 and stop. All right, so that one's a little bit trickier, right? So you got to get that mute in there on the palm, which makes you need a little bit of practice. So as we're moving on here, we've got progressively harder on some of these strumming patterns. We've got one more to go, and this is a very similar sort of technique what we did before. Pardon me. We have 1 and down, up, 1 and 3 and. So we've got all those up offbeat things, and this actually gives a nice little. You can always get like a bit of a ska reggae sort of thing happening with this one, right? So it gives you that kind of offbeat sort of reggae ska-esque sort of groovier sort of feel there. So this is the one down the bottom right there. So 1 and. So once again, we need to do those palm mutes. We need to do the palm mutes on there. So the 1 down, up, down. So I'll start again. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. I'll slow it down, up, mute, up, mute, up, mute, up, down, up, mute, up, mute, up, mute, up, down, up, mute, up, mute, up, mute, up, down, up, mute, up, mute, up, mute, up. Like so. Let's get a groove going. Let's give it a crack. Give it a good old razz. Give it a good old go. 1. Let's do a different drum beat. Oh, 1, 2, A minor now. Down, up, G. Up, down, up on the C. Repeat the C again. Back to the A minor. Up, and the down, up, G. Back to the C. Down, up, repeat. Down, up. Back to the start and A minor. G. A, C. Check that up. Well, I was scared of dentists and the dark. Down, up, A minor. Up, and down, up, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and A minor. 2 and 3 and 4 and G, 2 and 3 and 4 and C and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I want to show you a little bit of a because this is our last one, let's expand on this a little bit more on some things it can do when it comes to musical elements and how to change it up a little bit. So one thing you can do in this one, first of all, if you're a bar chord user, feel free to use the same things. Now you might hear as I'm doing this. Notice I'm in the bass note first. I'm going down, up, 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 down, up, 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 down, up. So I'm just in the lower bass notes first. So rather than going like that, I'm actually just going lower notes for the first, down, then hitting the thin notes for the up. So, and even when I'm doing the ups, I'm only going to hit the top strings to give it a real more twangy sort of reggae feel, right? So you got down, up, G. And in each of the chords, I'm hitting that bass like that, or it doesn't matter if you hit the bottom couple. And then I'm hitting, going up on the pick there. You can see I'm flicking my hand up like so. So you're getting that bass at the start every time. And then you're getting the higher twang of the higher notes in the chord. All right. So let's talk through what musical elements are and how to apply them to your music. Just give me a second while I organise some things here. Now, I haven't got a sheet necessarily put together for this one here. I'm just going to talk about it a bit and how to apply it. I'm also going to turn off that little bit of a, in the background, you can see the bit of the pole there. Turn that off there. All right, so musical elements. Does anyone know what the musical elements are? Or when I say musical elements, what I mean by that? Does anyone know what I mean by musical elements? So musical elements are the building blocks that make up they make up music, essentially. I always like with younger kids, I'm like, Minecraft, how you need this, this, and this, and this to be able to combine together to be able to create whatever it is you're making. They're the building blocks of whatever you're making. So what we're talking about right now is the building blocks of music. So I'm just currently right now just pulling something up here to give myself just a little bit more of a add some notes here. So let's talk through a couple of them. So duration. If we talk duration is how long or short a note is. It's talking about those rhythmic aspects that we've as far as how does a note kind of how long does it go for, the duration of it. And I'll give you an example of that right now. I'm clicking on some things here with note durations, and you'll see it in a second on the whiteboard as we go over to the whiteboard, the blackboard. So notes and rests. This is all to do with duration. About how long does the notes go for? Are they short notes, long notes? Are they short rests, long rests, all that sort of stuff? All these different sort of length of notes just here that will help with your duration. So what that means, if you're playing some chords, if you're playing these different strumming patterns, are you holding it for 2 beats there? How long are you holding those notes for? It's all to do with these different rhythms that we talked about just here. So all these different notes are to do with duration up here on how long it goes for. The other one that we can do is pitch. Pitch is how high and low a sound is. So for instance, if you're pretty familiar with your open chords and you're only on your open chords, you haven't got a whole bunch you can do as far as moving your chords if you haven't learnt your bar chords or anything like movable chord shapes. But what you can do is like I did on that previous one, you can control where you play on the chord. Do you play those lower notes, the bass notes, or the high notes? All to do with pitch on high, low. So it can really change how a song sounds. So if I did like if I did a song like this. So let's say I'm gonna do the same chords here. I'm gonna go one of those songs that we had before. Let's say I went with Sweet Home Alabama, right? Which is D, C, G, 2, 3, 4, D for 2, C for 2, and then G for 4. So let's say I went with Sweet Home Alabama. I could choose to, even on my open chords here, and hopefully you can see it on the second camera there, I can choose to go just on the high notes. I can do the low notes. And it changes the sound of the piece. Or I can use bar chords. So notice how this sounds different to this. Which sounds different to this. So depending on where you play it in the neck and what octave and all that sort of stuff, it can really affect the sound that you're creating. So use it wisely. So certain songs, if you learn certain songs, will lend itself to certain sounds, to different pitches. You might want to have your chords higher up in the guitar to get more accurate sort of representation of the song that you're playing, or maybe it jumps around, or maybe you just want to experiment and try your own different versions of whether the chord goes up or down. It all depends on the sound that you're after, and so that's pitch. So we've had duration, how long the notes are, long or short. Pitch is how high or low the sounds and everything in between. Another one is texture. How many sounds? Now, this can all be applied to general music as well. We are talking on chords today, but texture is to do with how thick or how thin a piece is. What I mean is, if a piece is really thin, it only has maybe one or two instruments in it, if it's or one or two sounds, or a couple sounds, and it doesn't sound like there's a lot happening. Whereas if it's a thick piece, there's a lot, like orchestra fully playing, everyone in the orchestra playing, you've got yourself a very thick texture. Now, you can apply this as well to your chords. So if I did like same again, D, C, G for Sweet Home Alabama. So you see here, there's not a lot happening, but I can also go. Which is a lot thicker texture. There's a lot more happening, where the other one, there's not much happening. So that's texture. So that's going to change the sound as well. So we've had texture, which is thick or thin. Thick being lots of instruments, thin being not many. Duration, length of notes, long or short. We've had our pitch, which is our notes, high or low. Another one is tempo, fast or slow. So how fast are you playing these chords, how slow you're playing them. So that's all to do with the speed of the song as well, for instance, how fast you count in. And so I might do Sweet Home Alabama really fast. With a very thick texture. Or I might do a slow one. So that tempo, how fast or slow it's going to be, is really going to affect the sound that comes out. If we talk about another one, which is, I always say this wrong, timbre, which is to do with sound quality. Timbre is to do with what does it sound like, and this is the big one. This is a massive one when it comes to playing guitar, chords, melodies, all that sort of stuff. Is your tone of the guitar? What sort of sound are you going to go for? Because this sounds different. That there sounds very different to this. So talking about tone is really important. It really affects the mood of the song. So for instance, like having a funk song, we've sung like this. Sounds a little bit different to a funk song like this, which has got a lot warmer tone. You want that more higher end sort of scratchier sound for a funk piece with a lot more treble in there. Sort of thing. So having those different sort of the timbre and your sound quality and is going to affect. That's a massive part of it. That's a massive part of it, sort of thing, right? So we've got a couple more. Dynamics is a big one. Does anyone know what dynamics means? If I say dynamics, what comes to your mind when I say dynamics? What comes to your mind when I say dynamics? What comes to your mind when I say dynamics? You can probably guess it from that there. Dynamics is talking about how loud or quiet some things are. So if I'm playing some chords in the strumming patterns, how all those other things I mentioned, plus how loud or quiet I play is really going to affect the feel. So use dynamics to really bring a lot of flavor into your solos, into your strumming patterns, by making things louder and softer. So let's go through a couple that we've done here. So we've done timbre, which is your sound quality. It's talking about the different tone. It's talking about different sounds of, like, for instance, a saxophone sounds different to a guitar, which sounds different to I don't know, an accordion. So each one has a different sound, but even within those instruments, you can then alter the sound even more for that. So pitch is talking about how high or low notes are. So depending on if we're talking chord strumming today, depending on where you do the chords, you might play them down low, you might play them up high. It's going to change the sound of the strumming pattern. Texture is to do with how thick or thin pieces are. If you've got a really thick texture, you've got lots of sound happening there, a lot of instruments. In this case, we're talking about chords. You've got a lot of strumming happening. A thin texture might be a single note on a guitar, or not many instruments. Tempo is how fast and slow, how the speed of a song. Or it can also be, fast or slow, speed of the song, tempo. Duration, how long or short notes are. So that's what we talked about before with things like half notes, quarter notes, eighth notes, or minimum crotches, whatever terminology you use. How long do the notes go for? One I didn't mention is structure, the musical plan. With the structure, how is the song structured? So if you're strumming, in the most cases, I've got giving you guys loop songs today, but even within that, there might be different structures. So if you go into a chorus, what is the plan? Are you going to bring out the guitar part more? Are you going to back off on the verse and bring it out more in the chorus? Are you going to have a thicker texture and a louder dynamics, which is louder soft and louder quiet in the chorus? And thinking about those sort of things are really going to shape what you do. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play for you an example. Let's go over to our blackboard real quickly here and look at the songs that we've got up here. So we've got Zombie, we've got Beat It by Michael Jackson, Royals, Fast Car, Sweet Home Alabama, and Riptide. I'm going to pick one of these, and I'm going to try to apply a lot of these different things in here. And if you are in the chat and you are listening and you're active and would like to comment on it, I'd love to hear you guys using those terminologies I just used to describe what you're hearing. So I'll get one together. So right away with this example here, I've started off softer. I've done a bit of a palm mute. It's got a dynamics a little bit quieter. The texture was a bit thinner, and then I got to this part here, brought the dynamics up a little bit more texture, thicker texture there, and I can also put a second part in there for a higher pitch. I noticed I just made it on this sheet here. I've made an error. That C D E D, I think it's meant to be on. I was doing Beat It, and I think the second, if you look and Beat It up there, it goes C D E D. It's meant to be an E minor. I've made a mistake. On my form. I'm gonna have to fix that up. So yeah, look, guys, we're about to finish up this session today. We've got one more session to go where we talk about rock history. So I just want to wrap up what we've talked about in this session, and then I'm gonna take a 5-minute break, and I'll be back for the last Rock History 101 with we're talking about the 50s and rock and roll. So looking over here real quick, you've got this resource here that we used in our first session. But today, in the second session, we talked mainly about strumming patterns. And you had this little resource here, which is all available once again through my Discord. ! Discord and chat will pull that up for you as well if you haven't seen it already. And you see here with this one here, we broke down the different rhythms into 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we had our down up strums on here. We had our count there and our notes at the top. And the blue ones means that there's no notes there, you don't play it. And we have a whole bunch of different rhythms here. And we talked about how you can subdivide and how you can get there and create all these different strumming patterns using variations on the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That was the main thing that we talked about today. And then we also talked very briefly about the musical elements. We've got pitch, texture, tempo, duration, structure, dynamics, and timbre. So are there any questions, queries, or downfall points about anything that we've done today? If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm going to take a 5-minute break. If you've got any questions while I'm away, feel free to ask while I'm on my break. Quick 5-minute break while I prep for the next lesson. Yeah, guys, if you've enjoyed today, let me know. I always want feedback to improve these sections. While it's not going to, it's only really here. We're going to get a lot of viewers who are mainly here to learn the guitar rather than just kind of listen to music. I think it's an important little part to for me to keep doing each week. I would love some feedback if you're enjoying it. The pace, it's designed for someone who has a guitar in their hand or someone who's a musician. There are going to be different workshops each week, not always around the guitar. For instance, up next is rock history. So I'll talk to you guys after this quick little break. I'll be back in just a little bit, and we'll talk then. See you in a bit.